standing up too high with nowhere to fall down to. Empathy around you, standing looking back. You heard it all before now, losing what you didn't know you had. Fearing what you want is nearing, but you're really trying to get away from it. Basic instincts overpowering. You still have this open. When this could be good enough for us, this could be good enough for us. When this could be good enough for us, this could be good enough for us. This could be good enough for us. This could be good enough for Hearing what you want is nearing, but you're really trying to get away from it. Basic instincts overpowering. You still have this open. When this could be good enough for us. Standing up too high with nowhere to fall down to. Empathy around you, standing looking back. You heard it all before now, losing what you didn't know you had. Hearing what you want is nearing, but you're really trying to get away from it. Basic instincts overpowering. You still have this open. This could be good enough for us.
Welcome everyone to the beautiful WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca as we get ready for tonight's action. It's PCA UCR Sim Racing action presented by Johnson Research and Performance Incorporated, and it's live on FTF GG. Justin Prince with you alongside Hex Valentine with our producer Zach Johnson as we get ready to go with a couple rounds to go on the season. Last time out, it was insanity to say the very least. This time out, the drivers are looking to try and see how they fare out at a very difficult, very much elevation-filled racetrack. First things first, Hex. These drivers getting ready for some big challenges after an attrition-filled round at Mid-Ohio. Your thoughts on this circuit?
Well, given how chaotic the last race was, I'm expecting probably a little bit more eased up racing, especially with the elevation changes. This track is very unforgiving when it comes to turns of making the smallest mistakes here. I'm expecting some cleaner racing this time around, hopefully.
Let's take a look at the championship standings entering today, because that race really shuffled things about a little bit when it comes to the point standings. Although Christopher Stiles only lost a singular point to Joe Sinclair Jr., he still has a 16-point advantage in the standings. Terrence Tahn, with his victory, finished into the standings today in third. John Martin, Ben Leon rounding out the top five in the standings. It's been crazy so far how things have fared out. It's going to be interesting how those championship standings fare over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, hopefully that, if anything, these drivers will be battling just as hard, if not harder, especially as we are rounding out the end of this season. But hopefully, with as close to the points as they are, we might be able to see some shakeups on the board tonight.
Right now, these drivers are in the midst of open qualifying, by the way. They started about 7 minutes or so ago, and it shouldn't be a surprise to see Christopher Stiles at the top of the board. He's been the quickest throughout the session so far by half a second.
Yeah, you only got Sinclair right behind him. Adamczyk in third right now. We got Martin fourth, Tong in fifth. I'm sure that Adamczyk will be able to chase down Sinclair to get that number 2 spot for sure, though.
Have to see, especially since Stiles led practice by nearly half a second as well. Meanwhile, the Sparkle car has had a number change. It's worth noting. You see that machine now running. Patrick Adamczyk has switched over to the 407 machine for the rest of the campaign. A couple races to go. And he was having some good speed last time out, keep in mind as well. And just like that, he misses the corkscrew.
Commentator's curse.
He'll elect to go and tow that car. The only driver not yet to set a time is Chris Duncan. 12 drivers have set times so far. But you have to remember, when it comes to the Porsche Club of America and its Upper Canada region sim racing series, for a lot of drivers, some of them are new to the sim. For a couple, this is their first experience to race against other drivers at challenging tracks such as this one.
And I think the most important thing, being a new driver, somebody who's only have like a year of experience under the belt, is your mental game. Being calm and being focused can save you so many headaches in the long run when it comes to racing.
When it comes to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, what are some of the major challenges you feel these drivers will face today, knowing they have to make a pit stop for one, but two, just the amount of runoff area that can send you sliding through the sand here?
I think the biggest challenge for any new racer when it comes to this track is definitely the elevation changes. Lots of blind spots. A lot of new drivers are going to be hesitant when it comes to pushing their car just a little bit harder than they absolutely could, because they're like trying to still get used to the up and downs of WeatherTech. I know when I was just learning these cars on this track, I was really easing up on the throttle a lot on the downhill turns, and I'm sure somebody's going to oversend it and they're going to spinning themselves out, pushing these cars just possibly a little too hard. but I think if they can get over the fear of the blind sections for the elevation changes, they should be able to keep up with the pack.
Drivers now getting the checker flag for their respective runs. These competitors can now close out their qualifying. Some are already pulling off quickly, like John Martin, who did not race last week. As well, Adam Holland also did not race at Mid-Ohio. He'll be among those also competing. A few others are completing laps, such as the drivers you see here. This is Ben Leon on those driving, as well as Terrence Tawn for the corkscrew. Right now, these are the 5th and 6th place drivers in qualifying. To be able to make it up towards the pole time, they need to find 1.1 seconds. They're near identical to each other in terms of their pace.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be quite the challenge to find 1.1 on these last stretches of the track here, but let's see if he can find it.
Coming across the stripe this time, Terrence Tawn looking to bump up from a 102.408. Puts up a 123 flat. The driver behind him, and Ben Leon, a 122.5. Neither improve. And those are the last drivers who are able to put in times now for qualifying. So in turn, Terrence Tawn has taken the time to practice things out before. Things close out on the racetrack fully before the starting grid. Your expectations for this race 7 of the campaign?
My expectations for race 7 is definitely going to be a lot of very close quarter racing, especially when it just comes to the blind spot for all these newbie drivers.
Let's take a look at how these drivers will line up today. Christopher Stiles will start on the pole today, followed by Joe Sinclair Jr. Then it's Patrick Adamczak in 3rd position, then John Martin in 4th spot. Terrence Tawn starts in 5th today with Ben Leon in 6th spot. Bonetto in 7th with John Montgomery in the 8th position. Robert Bowman starts in 9th with Adam Holland, rounding out your top 10 today, Hex.
And then we got Justin Warren in the 11th spot. We got Peter Roth in the 12th spot, and Chris is unfortunately a no-show. He's still disconnected from the sim at the moment.
That's looked up on with the running order. These drivers will now get ready behind the iRacing safety car. For today's action, the drivers in turn have all made their way to the starting grid. It's a full pace lap, it appears, to be able to get us ready to go here. You mentioned a bit of your expectations. Who do you feel is among the ones to watch today to be up on the wheel and fast?
I think that obviously we're going to be looking at our parts leader tonight, Chris. Christopher is going to be one of the few racers to watch. I'm going to expect a really close battle between John Martin and Terrence Tawn, especially. I mean, look at how close these two were in qualifying. Just 0.4 or 0.3 seconds away from each other, just trying to chase each other down. What about you, Justin?
I'm very curious about Christopher Stiles after all the bumps he had. From the drop of the green flag last time out, he was having to go in recovery mode. Went off the track several more times after that, and now he's looking to drive that very blue purity machine from the starting spot and control car spot. That's going to be so critical too. Keep in mind, coming out of turn 11, this is a track known for trouble in that section if you time up the start wrong, Hex.
Absolutely. Let's hope that they can keep it under control and stay calm as they turn 11, and hopefully we have a clean start to this race.
Remember, when it comes to today, drivers do have unlimited fast repairs available as well for this 35-minute race. There is no incident limit as well. Track temperature is 76 degrees Fahrenheit. Air temp is 66. The winds are currently at a default 2 miles per hour to the north, 52% humidity, and it is iRacing Day, May 15th, 2021, just past 9 a.m. in sim time here in California. But we're just about all set to get ready to go for the 7th race of the season. This is PCA action. This is the Upper Canada region, and this is their sim racing series. All set to go. Stiles in control of the field. Out of the final corner, heading to the start zone. Green flag is out, we're underway. And they're already bouncing off the walls. Terrence Tawn made it 3 wide. He's wrecked the back half of the field.
Oh no.
4 or 5 cars have crashed before they even got to the Andretti hairpin.
Saw Tong was trying to make the move on the inside of the Sparkle car, and he was just not moving, and they end up bumping, and Tong ends up turning him around. That's just unfortunate.
Amongst those also involved, Warren, Roth, Martin. A rough start from the second row, but not even at the start and finish line. My goodness. I'm speechless.
I am too. I'm just trying to think of if that was the correct move there. I'm pretty sure he could have waited a little bit longer before taking it on the inside there, but you know what they say, races aren't made on lap 1.
Take one last look because another issue has just popped up the racetrack. It's worth noting in a second because you see how many drivers spun. Roth got the cleanest out of all of that, barely any damage, but lost a lot of time, 25 seconds nearly. But Joe Sinclair, just a moment ago, this we'll have to look at likely too, spun around down the Rahal straight from second position.
As you see, he catches the curve just a little too much, and he goes out to the sand, and ooh!
Collects Terrence Ton with him. And nearly collects another. That's Leon who had to come out of the sand as well.
Yeah, that was just an unfortunate accident, just pushing the car a little too hard there, and ends up losing control.
Absolutely stunning how things have played out. A second straight week of craziness on the first lap of the event. And Christopher Stiles this time is the one with the 5-6 second advantage over Paul Neto. Neto started in 7th. Adam Holland's in 3rd. The Matrix Motorsports driver started in 10th.
It is definitely crazy how everything can just change, not even at the start of a race, just instantly before we even cross the start finish.
Almost 3 minutes into the action, keep in mind, estimated 24 to go. Joe Sinclair is currently already within the draft for 4th position for reference sake. He is catching up to a battle that's starting to form between Holland and Leon. Leon last time a 138, but this time, keep an eye on the stopwatch. Joe Sinclair, keep in mind, is dealing with some tech issues. See if that becomes a factor. As up to speed this time. 122 for Sinclair, 125s and 124s for the cars ahead. That's with damage for the 212.
Yeah, you gotta wonder if his technical issues, if he'll be able to keep up with Holland and Leon for the battle for 3rd here. Hopefully his connection solves itself and he's able to keep up with the pack today.
Here comes Joe Sinclair Jr. Now up the inside, a quick pass. He recovers back to 4th position. Now Ben Leon, who's up to 3rd now, looks to try and defend after some of the trouble the last time through this section. Good exit down to the Rahal straight, but keep in mind that run through turn 6 can be so difficult to be able to nail right. You go too strong, you're going into the sand.
Absolutely. They'll need to give you the spade just to get you out of there, but he seems to nail it, keeping it under control here.
Still keeping within 1 second for the time being. So hearing Peter Rumpf has had another issue with his car. Keep in mind he had already used 9 seconds in the pit lane after his troubles. Adam Zek took 14 seconds in the pit lane. Terrence Ton just took a fast repair. John Montgomery nearly 5 seconds after being involved in all the craziness. Here's a look once more at some of the drivers. Amongst them you see running with a lot of clean space is the 69 machine. John Montgomery with a newer look, all while up the road. Have battles such as this one for 8th. Bowman has just been cycled back to 9th spot where he started the race.
And I believe Adam was actually on his roof in the pits during that incident. So to see him come back out of the pits and fight for that 8th spot is very, very endearing here.
Having to catch up 29 seconds to have a shot at the race leader. In a week where literally everything has happened when it comes to large deficits, never say never at this point.
Absolutely.
For reference, by the way, Christopher Stiles has some left front damage right now for the race leader. He still has an 8-second advantage. The reason for the damage appears to have been picked up during some of the opening lap craziness when he ended up as the leader bottoming out against a curb.
Yeah, I mean, he did post his fastest so far, a 121.746 versus his 122 last lap. So he is getting faster, but for how long?
More trouble behind as Peter Roth continues to get a lesson in running on road courses on iRacing. Again, he is very new to this and felt bad about some of the bad luck for him and bad troubles last time out. He's still looking to complete as many laps as possible here in this series. He is currently in 12th position.
And if that start was a tell for anything, never give up on a race. Anything can happen. Who knows? The leader might spin out and 3 more drivers behind him might crash. One of the biggest things, again, like I stated earlier, being a new racer is the mental game.
Joe Sinclair, meanwhile, struggling out of the corner and with technical issues. There's a lot of time for a chance to pounce here and potentially use Peter Roth as a pick. Ben Leon now stuck in the draft of the lap car, 14 seconds back of the race leader. And Leon gets a good run, finally gets some clean space through the traffic. Meanwhile, more trouble behind. And this is Adam Holland, who's gone off to the sand this time to drop to 7th.
Yeah, the elevation changes is definitely one of the major difficulty points about Laguna.
Yeah, this is such a very difficult track to try and master. And this is a track, mind you, that some rookies are placed on, even with the elevation changes. So much can change when it comes to being able to get the sights, especially right here. And then you hide behind a tree.
Well, thankfully, he didn't catch any damage when he slid into the sand there. I was very worried he was going to hit the tires.
Now you see right there, just kept it off the tires and then chugged along with the headlights on. Right there, 1 spot, 2 spots lost, all at the same time. You had technical issues for Jones Sinclair Jr., who lost an additional second or so this lap. Look who's ready to gain a spot, though, from that. Patrick Anacek is now right behind him for the 7th spot.
And he is just a little bit faster than him. As we saw in qualifying, these two drivers, they had a 2-second difference in qualifier. Anacek was 2 seconds faster as he's chasing down Holland here. Hopefully he can find the spot to make the move. As he's catching his draft, he's looking for the move right here.
And Holland goes off into the sand to let by the driver. That's a way to do it, I guess, as Holland now drops back to 8th spot. Still has picked up 2 positions from his starting slot. The next driver behind is 8 seconds back. Right now, this time, keep an eye on the time, though, because the 4:07 at the stripe just recorded one of the fastest lap times of the racetrack, a 1:22.6. The leader's running 1:22.1s, but right now, his pace is quicker than every car except for Stiles.
I think he's going to be able to make... I would be very surprised if he didn't make a P5 or P4 finish tonight, as he's just pushing and pushing as hard as he can go. Even though Stiles is breaking away from the pack with an 11-second lead, you know, never say never.
Louis, especially since we're a few minutes into the action right now, 10 minutes this time around, coming up to an estimated 19 laps to go. Here's another battle. It's Justin Warren dealing with some of the damage from before. He's still trying to battle with Robert Bowman. Keep in mind, Justin Warren's car, it looks like it's been turned into a short track car for a race at Martinsville, rather being used as a Porsche. It has been beat up a lot this race.
Yeah, I don't even think he even pitted during the during the start of our race. I think he just kept going. He just kept pushing the car.
And I mean, why not? Try and see what positions you can gain for the drivers who have had struggles. The tough part is, half the drivers who have already used a faster pair have already made up that time back.
Yeah, he's only gained 2 positions, but I'm sure at the very start of it, I think he moved like 6 or 7 spots up. But as soon as those drivers all came in for the pits, they were able to retain most of their starting positions. I think the only one that's made the biggest on-track gains off of that is Paul Neto, who he started 7th and is now racing for 2nd.
And keep in mind, when it comes to Paul, it's been a very quiet run for him so far. He is still running a quick enough clip to potentially be in the conversation for a podium by the end of things. Still in second by about 5 seconds over Ben Leon.
Yeah, he is posting 123 solids here, and I believe Ben right behind him. He just posted a 122, but he is in the same time zone as Neto with 123 solids.
Keep in mind, he is an Upper Canada region instructor and also is a part of the Mystery Corps that helped set up the sim racing action. A lot of talent behind the wheel when it comes to road course racing and in the province of Ontario. And one of the main things I really love when it comes to PCA action in regards to racing is the sportsmanship usually seen, as well as the respect given, because in most cases, you have drivers be very courteous to one another, and for a lot of cases, they may race against or see each other at railroad racetracks with their Porsches.
Yeah, I believe having such strong respect for one another on these tracks, and there are times where they may bump each other and one of them may just slow down and say, no, you go ahead.
Is that happening right now? Styles is running 65 miles per hour.
Yeah,
he just threw away a 10-second lead.
He absolutely did, and Neto's going to pass him here.
Is he trying to teach Paul Neto the track now?
Maybe
this is a new one. This is a new one for PCA even.
Maybe he was just feeling lonely at the top. You know, he wanted somebody else to have it.
I mean, I've heard of drivers, if they've accidentally spun somebody out, will legit pull over, give the spot back, give up all that time as well. But I haven't seen it to where someone on their own, 12 seconds ahead, said, you know what? I'm going to help figure out your racing line with you. That's the only thing I can think of here.
Is that Canadian hospitality I hear so much about?
Keep in mind, even when it comes to some of the crazy things that happened yesterday, just yesterday, where a driver watched an error wreck and then gave up a 20-second lead, that was a 2-car battle. This was a driver on his own, willingly giving up a 12-second advantage. I can't believe it.
In all my years of racing, I've never seen this happen. Like, I've only heard stories of where people would just slow down just to give the pack a little bit of time, but I've never seen it in a league race. I'm a little speechless. I'm a little unprepared for this.
We're coming up to 20 minutes to go, by the way. Christopher Styles is still staying within the slipstream of Paul Neto, not willing to pass him at the moment. Ben Leon is gaining on them, too. Neto is half a second slower than Ben Leon. This may become a 3-car battle by virtue of all this. Christopher Styles is letting up down the straightaways for this.
He is, and you can look at our timing. I mean, he's just catching up, and then as soon as he gets too close, he eases up a little bit, make sure Neto's got a clean turn, and then he just gets right back down on it. I'm sure they're talking to each other on the radios right now and teaching each other the track, but...
And Christopher Styles, is he now going to make the move back and see how Paul Neto will drive now? Yes, to the corkscrew. And he runs away by nearly a full second out of the corner exit. Wow.
That's insane.
laps are coming up. We'll take a quick break. More action right after this.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in endorsed series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Today's coverage of PCA UCR Sim Racing action is presented by Johnston Research and Performance, your Canadian source for automotive excellence. Justin Brent, Hex Valentine with you, with Zach Johnson producing for what has become a candidate for yesterday's best example of the most bizarre race of the year. Christopher Stiles has not only given up the lead once, he's given it up twice now. Wooingly, he led by 12 plus seconds before letting Paul Netto pass him, passed Paul Netto back, then while under brake, let Netto and Leon pass him. This is one of the most bizarre races I've ever seen.
I don't really know what to say. I mean, he's right back to where he started. I wonder if he's just gonna let Sinclair Jr. pass him here and see if he can chase down 3 people at once. I'm not too sure. It's got to be boredom.
I mean, there's the argument of sportsmanship. Yes, where you give common courtesy to drivers. You definitely don't want to spin them out. If you end up making major contact, try and give them the chance to save it and give them the spot back. But then there's the example of, say, in the real world, say you are holding the door for somebody and you end up holding the door for a crowd of 25 people. This is the equivalent of holding the door for 20 minutes straight because you wanted to help one person, as there's the pass for second.
Yeah, I wish I was a mind reader right now, Justin, so I could get into Styles' head just to see what's going on, but I don't know. Maybe he's just waiting for Massive Pack Racing and sending it again. Maybe he's trying to like slow for like a competition. I don't know.
For reference, Joe Sinclair Jr. is back within the draft as well. But that faster pair is still in pocket. So guess what? It's now a 4-car train who are all running 1:23 second bracket lap times. There's a good chance others catch up here. It's to the point where Christopher Stiles is having to downshift 2-3 times a corner. Here comes another run for the race lead. Does he take it this time? He tries the outside line. Netto now bobbles off the left side. Stiles still drives out with more power on the outside. Side by side, 11 estimated laps to go.
I think he's just gonna let him have it again here, as he's just gonna stay to the outside line, and Sinclair now within 1 second of the pack.
Wow. So back single file again amongst the top drivers. 4 drivers now separated by 1 second. John Martin is about 8 seconds back of all of this. Adam Check is currently in 6th position, 12 seconds behind. Yeah, that's another story to keep in mind. He just passed Terrence Todd for 6th position. And now here comes another bubble for Joe Sinclair Jr.
This is turning into a way out of bizarre territory at this point. I can't even keep up. I'm on overload. As we see Leon just...
Now he's off the track. Overshot the corner, yes, lost a lot of time. That's now 5 seconds back. Neto nearly overshot the next corner after that through the rainy curve. Christopher Stiles oversends it through the corner for the race lead. Nearly sends it off to the wall. Joe Sinclair Jr. comes into pit along with Robert Bowman. Under 14 minutes to go, and we're approaching the pit window as Neto makes it side by side. Stiles harder on the brakes. Neto hugs the inside of the Andretti hairpin for the lead again. Better run for Stiles to clear.
I'm unsure if I should even call this a battle because you and I both know that Stiles is just absolutely much faster on this track, but I'm not too sure what his game is here.
Well, it's become something. You see the pit stop sequence is continuing on, by the way. That's Terrence Todd, who's completed a second pit stop already this race. Remember, had to take a faster pair after the calamity on the start for the second straight week of this action. Justin Warren will come right alongside him, coming along that pit exit this time. Right on behind, in fact, goes Justin Warren. He is one of the few who have not had to get repairs done from some of that trouble earlier. Neto, by the way, has now dropped more than a second behind Christopher Stiles. Leon is still 5 seconds back. Neto has just damaged the rear of his car, for reference, by hitting a turtle as well.
Yeah,
That's dangerous, the sausage curbs, right?
It really is.
If you can take a look at the right rear, it's got a hole in it now. Ben Leon to the pit lane.
I wonder if Stiles is even going to pit at all.
He has to. I mean, realistically, he has to. The fuel limit is, for this series, 50%. The talking point was about, at most, about 30 minutes.
I wonder if he'll just get a little bit of gas and go. I don't know if he'll even change out his tires.
Well, that's usually the pattern, right? You take tires, that is a massive difference in time, Hex.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's unpredictable. I mean, who knows what he'll do when he gets in there.
He's nearly 3 seconds up the road now with under 12 minutes to go.
And look at Adams, he's back and forth. Remember, he battled all the way from, I believe it was 8th, and now he's in the top 4.
Here's the thing, he has to still pit, because even though he got thrown into the flag stand, essentially, he still essentially is on the same fuel number as everyone else here.
Oh yeah, you're right.
One more driver's just ducked to the pit lane. It's John Martin, who's been having a quiet night from the 7 car. Picked up a little bit of rear damage, but other than that, car has been mostly clean from the start. And he's been running on his lonesome much of this run, just keeping to his own business on the racetrack as he pulls through all the pit boxes. Christopher Stiles now making his way through towards Sector 2, towards Turn 4, all while, here's a look now at some of the other drivers such as Leon. Gonna pass on by him and will, as Holland is in.
I think that we should see Stiles coming in for the pits this lap, as we only have 10 minutes
Trouble
left
pit
to go.
exit. John Martin ran into the sand trap in the Andretti hairpin coming through the pit exit. Will that be a penalty as he got back on the pavement? Not sure if that'll be enough to trigger an unsafe pit exit since he left all 4 tires off the racing surface for the apron. Justin Warren has also just crashed. He's off and away as John Montgomery drives on by. What a wild, wild race it's been so far. As Styles continues to chug ahead.
I'm absolutely still trying to process all of this. I wonder if Orange just ended up losing it, or if he just...
I think you might have to take a look at this one because Peter Roth may have been involved in this. Indeed he was. Look at this. Turn 3.
Well,
he licked the stamp. The problem is, he broke the mailbox.
well, that's just unfortunate there.
Justin Warren, the last of the drivers who have not yet hit. Give him credit. He's trying to drive a very wounded race car still, to the point where that front end is no longer sealed towards the ground. Another issue for Ben Leon now.
New tire issues?
Remember, it's fuel only.
Oh, fuel only, yeah.
So Ben Leon with a major mistake only a couple laps after his pit stop, where he just essentially overshot turn 3 entry and spun it out.
That's...
Now pit stop this time.
A good night.
Yes, indeed. Adam Zek is having a decent recovery after his crazy start to this one. Pit stop time for him.
I'm sure he'll be able to retain his P3 spot here tonight, as him and Sinclair will most likely be battling it out for the last 7 minutes here. Just gotta see how fast he can get out of pit lane.
Sinclair, though, was already passed by him by a significant margin. In fact, at 407 and lost some time as more trouble. Joe Sinclair Jr. having to run away from that one. That's Robert Bowman going off into the sand this time in the Robo Racing car.
I think Bowman might have been trying to give him some room since he is a lap down. Well, let's see what the replay tells us here.
Well, he was on his own initially, and then he found a friend right there. Hello. There's a car there.
Cannot park your car there, unfortunately.
He actually tried to pull ahead into his path, it almost looked like.
Yeah, it almost did look like that, but we got Styles finally coming in for his pit.
So Styles and Neto have only been able to make it to 7 minutes to go. And now it's the question of what happens now. Styles had ran away by about 5 seconds. He's taken his fast repair. Styles a 6.4 in the pit box. Neto is also, as expected, taking his fast repair. It's only a 5-second stop for Paul Neto. However, Neto has lost additional time on the pit exit. Joe Sinclair Jr. has actually jumped Paul Neto.
Yes, Styles was just in and out of there, blink of an eye. He was already gone.
Under 5 minutes, under 5 laps, should say, estimated to go from this point. In the race that has had a lot happen. Now, what does Christopher Styles elect to do this time with this lead? Does he keep it? Does he have it evaporate and then keep it? We'll see. It's 4.3 seconds right now.
I'm just keeping an eye on Adam Zek here as he's trying to chase down Martin for that P4 position here. See if he can climb his way back up to a podium spot with 5.5 left to go here.
Meanwhile, some battling going on. John Martin has found a friend. The problem is that friend wants the spot he's in right now. Adamchenko's now caught up to him. There's also traffic. That's not going to help as Robert Bowman. Where will Bowman elect to go? He's not made a move quite yet for the blue flags. Good run for Martin off the corner. Nearly runs over the 9 car. And it looks like that will force Bowman's hand to the right side of the track.
And now Adam has to chase down 2 cars here as Bowman moves out of the way from Adam Zek. And he's able to get past him. Now he's going to go back to chase down Martin again.
That cost him a decent amount of time to try and battle for that position. Justin Warren has finally completed his pit stop now this time by. So now that will mean everyone has taken their fuel to make it to the end from this point. Martin holding on to that gap now by nearly 2 seconds or so now as a result of that traffic assistance. Christopher Stiles, for reference, his lead is staying under 4 seconds currently, but almost 4 minutes to go on the clock.
And I'm sure he's just decided that he doesn't want to give it up this time around, as he's driving a very clean and fast line here. As I'm trying to look at his last laps, the only issue for me is that these are pitted laps, so I can't get a really accurate tail. And he just ran a 122.423.
Yeah, which has been decent throughout the race today. His quickest to 121.7. He holds on to a decent advantage over Joe Sinclair Jr., who's also starting in second. Paul Neto, he's dropped back very rapidly. Neto's been struggling the second stint of the race. With those older tires now, he has fallen off to nearly the 124s. He's got a decent enough cushion, though. He might be able to hold on to a podium.
He's only got an estimated 2 laps to hold on to. So as long as he can keep his lines clean and hold off Martin, he'll definitely be able to secure his P3 tonight.
Never say never.
Absolutely.
Last time we had that mentioned, guess what happened? Had a 12-second lead of just disappear. It's blink of an eye. 2 estimated laps to go this time by. Neto now up by 5 seconds over John Martin in that battle going on for 4th position. Couple laps to go this time around.
Let's see if Stiles will continue to add more seconds on, or if he just might slow down again for the rest of the pack and see how many people can catch up. But he is still retaining that 4-second lead.
Not expecting it to evaporate at this rate, especially with the race win on the line, and would put him in a very comfortable position, keep in mind, for the championship with his rival in second for that battle. Keep in mind, there is a drop reported to be a part of that championship as well to factor on in towards that finale. John Montgomery has just had to come into the pit lane again. So it looks like after having had to take a fast repair earlier, he was only able to make it to about 2 minutes to go. That close. And that does cost him a spot to Adam Holland. Maybe to Justin Warren too.
Let's see if Warren can chase down that time here, as it looks like he will be able to pass Montgomery here. Nope,
no, I don't think so yet. They are seeing the run now for the 69 coming out of the pit lane, but Warren will not get there completely. Almost.
And Martin just spun.
Martin has just crashed, in fact. This is out of the corkscrew, and this is a tough spot to be stuck in. All as the white flag expected to be out this time. Martin drops all the way back to his car number 7. Stiles leads by 3.5 seconds with under 50 seconds to go.
I don't think him and Adam were making contact. I was trying to keep an eye on that battle while you were calling the pit stop. But the last I look over out of the corner of my eye, I just see Martin spinning on the corkscrew.
Can confirm the white flag has been waved by Barney the flagman, so that is now the trigger to start this being the final lap. Remember, the leader must see the white flag for it to be the final lap. There have been close calls in that in the past, not today. Peter Ruff has now had to pit a second time, but Christopher Stiles, it's been a roller coaster of emotions and then some when it comes to his race. The 10 car led by as much as 12 seconds, then gave up that time, assisted Paul Neto, pulled away by another few seconds, gave up the lead again, then ran away again. Christopher Stiles wins in strange style tonight.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Justin.
Joe Sinclair Jr., Paul Netto rounding out the podium positions in a race which you had to see to believe. Unreal is the best way to put it. Adam checking fourth. For some, it's a night to forget after some of the troubles early on. For others, it's a night to wonder what just happened.
That was definitely some bizarre racing, my friend.
Absolutely. And when it comes to this, the last of the drivers coming across the stripe in the next few moments or so. Again, 12 took the green flag for this one. But for Christopher Stiles, great chance to celebrate after what was a crazy night of action. When it comes to Christopher Stiles, this is his fourth victory of the season this series, by the way, as Holland comes across to finish as well. Go ahead, X.
I was saying Adam Holland earlier just cut that entire corner at the last stretch here. Unsure what happened as he was trying to finish out his race.
Christopher Stiles is already running to victory lane, it appears. As the last of the drivers pulling in, I believe it's a great time to look at the race results in a new candidate for the most bizarre finish and bizarre race in general in all of iRacing competition. Christopher Stiles took home the victory in a teeter-totter race lead fight. Joe Sinclair Jr. finished in second. Paul Netto, Patrick Damachek, along with Terrence Taw in the top five. Ben Leon, John Martin, Adam Holland, John Montgomery, Justin Warren, your top 10 tonight. The rest of the drivers all finished a lap down or did not start. Bowman and Roth finished that one lap down mark. Chris Dugan did not take the green flag tonight. Quick thoughts, Hex, on how this fared out this evening, because a lot of questions, and this is going to make things very intriguing to end off the season in general. Keep in mind, Stiles essentially putting one hand on the trophy for the title.
I only have one question, and I just gotta know, Stiles, is why? What was going on?
I have the same question as well. We'll have to find out those answers in just the next little bit or so after what was a lot of craziness when it came to tonight's action. Let's talk first, though, to the driver who finished in second tonight, Joe Sinclair Jr. He's with Hex.
Good evening, Joe.
Good evening.
So, a bit of a crazy race there today.
Yeah, clipped an inside curb and went off and battled from the back.
And I'm sure you saw the carnage at the start of this race as the Sparkle car was essentially flipped over the pit wall. And you weren't caught or collected in that.
The replay. No, I was ahead of it. I was watching in my rear view and glad that I was ahead of it.
So I saw throughout the race that Stiles had slowed up and was giving you the position. Were you guys communicating at all during that period of time?
No, that may have been Paul. I had damage for the better part of the mid part of the race before I pitted, so I lost a lot of aero and I couldn't catch up to the lead pack.
That lap was a 123.
Gotcha. I apologize about that. But
No.
What were your difficulties tonight on track tonight, Joe?
Catching up from behind. Yep. No, I lost concentration and went off track. Not too bad. But when I did it, I lost a lot of time, and then I had to make it up. And against Stiles is hard sometimes, as he's pretty consistent as well.
Absolutely. And I'm sure it was difficult. You had some technical difficulties earlier, blinking in and out of the track. Other than that, how would you feel about your performance tonight?
I think I finished where I should finish.
Anybody you wanted to thank?
JRP for sponsoring this series, and the entire UCR crew.
Well, thanks for stopping by, Joe. Good racing tonight. Way to hold P2 tonight and fight back for that position. It was great having you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having you guys.
Once again, that's Joe Sinclair Jr. coming home in second tonight in what was a wild one, but a lot of questions, I think, for the driver who's now standing by, because Christopher Stiles now joins us. There is a lot of questions we have, because you went from 12 seconds ahead to no seconds ahead to appearing to be Paul Netto, then pulling away, then what happened there?
Well, if I'm not looking out for the broadcasters and giving them something to talk about, then who's going to do that job?
So, what were your competitors' reactions? Because I believe you're all in the same Discord channel together for these races, when you basically went from 12 seconds ahead to running 65 miles per hour, running behind Netto, passing by we were mind-boggled up here.
Well, until Paul watches this replay, the story so far is that my car was damaged.
He's going to find out. You know that, right?
That's okay. There's only one race left in the season.
Other than that, how did you feel about the car and the feelings of the track tonight?
Car felt great. Lots of grip. And it was a great race. Too bad there was a wreck at the beginning, and we didn't have an opportunity to really have like a good 3 or 4 way race for the top 3, but it was a great race. And big props to Paul Netto for organizing all of this for us.
Now, speaking of that final race, right now you're in the best position for the championship with one hand essentially on the trophy. Your thoughts for the final race of the campaign?
Well, I should check and see where the race is at, and then I'll probably do 20 to 30 minutes worth of practice and hopefully come in a place that nets me the championship.
Anyone you want to thank for this bizarre run tonight?
I'd like to thank Paul and Ben for not taking me out after I decided to mix it up with them.
Congratulations on the victory tonight.
Thank you, sir. I hope you guys all have a good night, and I appreciate you guys broadcasting for us.
That is Christopher Stiles. I am so confused after that.
Car damage.
Okay, then.
Okay.
Netto now joins us. What was your reaction, first of all, to the 12 seconds evaporating in the span of 10 seconds?
Yeah, being mid-pack, my strategy was trying to just keep it on track. And, I know towards the end there was a couple guys just coming down on me. John Martin, he tends to get a little twitchy if he gets a little excited. And my tires were completely wasted, but I was just able to hang on there towards the end there. Just keep it on track.
I was kind of also wondering about your opinion on what happened with Christopher Stiles there. What was kind of your thought process when you seen, oh, hey, all of a sudden I'm leading?
Well, I suspect that he had some issues coming out of the corkscrew, and his car wasn't quite quite behaving. But I knew he can carry some pretty good momentum even when he's at a disadvantage. So it was only a matter of time. Like my strategy is keep it on track and let the pieces fall where they lay.
Overall, with one race to go, and with you being a big part of the sim racing side of things for PCA UCR Action, your thoughts for the final race of the campaign and in general how things have played out for your fellow drivers?
Well, we have a pretty good range of drivers across the board, and we've seen some great improvements, across a number of individuals. And next week is our home turf at CTMP, Mossport. So it's definitely going to be an interesting one. It's an extra, 10 minutes long, so it should be some good fun.
And when you want to thank for your run tonight?
Well, I want to thank you guys for adding a little bit of excitement to what we do here. I want to thank the Hot Tub Time Machine, and also a big thanks out to JRP, who's helping sponsor and making this series possible. Thanks, everyone.
Any reason for the Hot Tub Time Machine?
It's a little tradition that we have that post race. Anybody who's got a hot tub, you got to jump in it with a drink. So, and Terrence started this this tradition, so we have to keep it alive.
Congratulations on the run tonight.
Thanks again.
Pawnetta rounding out the top 3 tonight in what was a wild one. Christopher Stiles, Joe Sinclair Jr., Pawnetta, I'd like to thank them for taking the time to speak with us. And that leaves one race to go for this campaign. Hex, your final thoughts on how tonight played out in what can only be described as a bizarre one.
Words right out of my mouth. I'm speechless on how to describe this race.
So speaking of this action, keep in mind there is that one race left to go in the campaign, and you can see that again here on FTFGG next week, same time. That will be December the 12th. Coverage starts at about 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to keep an eye on how things fare out, because the championship, while Christopher Stiles may have one hand on that trophy potentially, you never know what could happen after what we've seen tonight. With that, it's time to say goodbye. We'd like to thank you for tuning in for tonight's action here for this evening's racing. For our producer, Zach Johnson, for Hex Valentine, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You've been watching the Porsche Club of America Upper Canada Region Sim Racing action from WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Congratulations to Christopher Stiles, your winner from California.